Live back with the Leaders Create Leaders podcast and our lives. I'm just going to let you all jump on, get everybody hyped up because we have a big live today, a big episode on the Leaders Create Leaders podcast. My buddy Colin Wayne, a 9-figure entrepreneur, world-class leader, someone who I have so much respect as a father. He's an American hero. And he's been on our show, Leaders Create Leaders. So if you guys haven't seen that episode, right after this, you guys got to go check it out on YouTube. Type Colin Wayne, Leaders Create Leaders. We did a whole docu-series and went all the way to Alabama and went and just immersed ourselves in his entire world. So we're going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, of course. We're going to be talking about really the adversity of what it takes to build a 9-figure business. Also, all about team building. So what's going on, everybody? So you guys know the drill. Before I bring Colin on, I see you just popped on. What's good, Colin? Everybody drop your name and where you're coming in from. Where are you in the world? What's going on, Thomas? Good to see you here. And then as we bring Colin on, you guys know I want you guys to just give him a powerful welcome and drop some, some emojis, some fire emojis or some flexes for him. And I'm going to pin a comment for him. But where we got everybody, we got Gino from Albuquerque. What's good? What's good, Gino? We got Dwayne from South Africa. I love it. Cheyenne from New York City. Let's see. Aloha, Gerard. All right, I like that. Maybe we got some Hawaii in the house. North Carolina. Alberto. What's going on, Alberto? Ashley from Charleston. I actually owned a restaurant and club in Charleston. I love Charleston. Let's go, Army Strong. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to bring Colin on here, guys. We got Clovis from California. And I love the global community. So everybody, as we bring Colin on, I want you guys to give him a really powerful welcome. I want everybody to give some flex muscles, some fire emojis. And let's get ready to bring him on to talk about, let's see. We're going to talk about leadership, team building, and entrepreneurship. All right. And all right, guys, I just pinned the comment, so let's get him on. Guys, get hyped up. Are you hyped up or what? Let's bring on the one and only, one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation, an American hero, an unbelievable father and role model for entrepreneurs and just men all over the world. Let's bring him on, Mike. Everybody. Yo, Colin, man.
Yo.
Good to see you on here, bro.
Yeah, man. Likewise, dude. Good to see you. Love the energy too.
Well.
I see everybody dropping the flex on them. So.
There you go. Yeah, man. I see your flex has been growing, man. I've been seeing you get back in there.
Yes, sir. You're the comeback, man. I'm not going to let anything stop me.
Never, bro. You are someone that is 100% unstoppable, bro. So thank you for taking some time. I know it's busy for you. I know what I can only imagine since we was there. Just to give everybody some context, I went and visited Colin. He flew me out, and it was an absolute honor. I have so much gratitude, Colin, for you allowing me and Jeff to come into your world and to be able to actually visit you in that same office and really get a feel for what you've been creating, what you've been building. I mean, even got to go to your home. And then since then, I believe you've expanded the family. So congratulations. And really beautiful, man, to just see you evolve as a father, as a CEO, and as a leader. So, man, thank you for taking some time, man, to jump on with me and jam.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, and I just want to say this for, dude, the content that you're putting out on a consistent basis, like, watching the different leaders create leaders, like there needs to be more people like you that invest so much into these episodes. Like, I don't know if y'all understand like the full scope of what goes on in the production side. Like, it takes months for this to happen. They come in so prepared. Like, there is so much behind the scenes that you guys, so like I see it because we have a full production team here. And I want everybody to just kind of understand how much value is placed into this. This isn't something that they just fly into a random city, pick this random person, and then put out content like the next day. Like, there's so much that goes behind it. And so I just want to voice that because I see it, I respect it. And I love that you're devoting so much time to spread leadership across and entrepreneurship in general. So I see it, and I just want to show some love there, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, bro. It's been a really fulfilling journey for me. First, 12 years of my career, I was really to myself behind the scenes, building businesses. And it's been an honor to be able to be a voice like you of this generation, be a role model, and really like live my legacy and do this and provide value to people and give people a window, right, where they can really see what it takes behind all the Instagram, and they see a lot of the highlight, but a lot of people don't get to actually know the sacrifice and what it takes to actually to build something that is powerful, that creates jobs like you have, creating hundreds of jobs, changing the entire economy where you live. And yeah, I'm excited to talk more about that, bro. But thank you so much, because it's funny, I have season 6 coming out, and I interviewed a couple really cool leaders. But the first episode is on a guy named Vishen, who's a company called Mind Valley. Hundreds of employees. I flew all the way to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia to interview him at his office. And his team's like, hey, where's the interview? Where's the interview? And I'm like, it's not one of these things that we just can pop right up, It does take a lot of work and time. Appreciate it, bro. And shout out to my team. Shout out to Digital Jeff and Vic G, Nicole, all of you that help so much. So Colin, man, I mean, to give a little bit of context, bro, why don't you just update us? For those that have seen the episode, give a little context and update us since the episode. Maybe you can give a little bit of when you started Redline Steel, but how have things evolved since we last hung out?
So it's a night and day difference. So for those of you who aren't familiar, like we own, I say we, I call all of our employees we, and we're building something incredible here, but we're the largest customized steel manufacturer in the nation. Manufacturing wall art decor pieces. I'll show you. I got something. This is an example. So this is like something we would make that would go on your wall. So something like this whale. So we're releasing this on Friday. It's one of those, every Friday we release new products for 24 hours, and it's called Flash Friday. So it's one of those fear of missing out product pieces. We do different categories from like canvas, apparel, and steel. And so since you came last, we started expanding into other product lines and product categories. We're just about to launch a subscription base for a mystery gift. We've been testing that over the past 90 days, and it's been incredible. And yeah, we've been scaling rapidly on the SMS side. So, huge text message marketing. So like, I did a segmented text just a few minutes ago. I'll show you. This is some of the live traffic right now on the website. You'll see, like, dude, I'll show you in like a couple minutes. I'll show you what that looks like, because this is all live, right? GA, Google Analytics. So for those of you who aren't tracking, but I'll show you, I don't know, in 5 to 10 minutes what that number looks like when it triples or 10x's, So then you can see as we're talking, it's like, well, yeah, you can, with the push of a button, that's what you can do. And that's what's powerful about SMS versus email marketing. Think about open rates, think about click-through rates, but you can't use it and take advantage of it because it's a personal touch. With emails, you can send them every day. Your open rates, if you're lucky, 18 to 24% industry standard. With SMS, you're going to have very, very high deliverabilities, but you don't want unsubscribes. You don't want it to be a bad user experience, so you can't abuse it. So, since you've came down, this has been something we've really, really focused on, is the SMS play. So we have over 100,000 active TCMP compliant subscribers that have either opted in. We're doing lead gen ads through paid ad through Facebook. And we created a website called $2tuesday.com. Super, super cool. This is what we do. Let me show you, flip this around. And that's not toilet paper, by the way. This is this is labels. Right, somebody said that the other day, but yeah, $2tuesday.com, and this is cool. Like all the stuff. So you can get, like, every Tuesday we release an awesome product, and it's always $2. So with like Father's Day right around the corner, this was brought into my office. Like, this is going to be only $2, right?
No way. That's
so
cool.
Yeah. So that is, and let me tell you, like, the marketing back end behind it. So I think this is where some awesome takeaways are. So, when you look at, like, SMS marketing and email marketing, there's massive differences between the two. What I want to do is, even though it's a very, very low cost item, my type of products are commodity based. They do not need them every single month. I have to reinvent the wheel on why they need to continue to purchase. So having incredible deals, now I'm driving traffic. And so it's a message platform where I can drive top of funnel traffic, and it's feeding my DPA and retargeting ads on a consistent basis. So, and then I'm driving, this $2 item, I'm driving OTOs, one-time offers, bump offers, post-purchase, immediate post-purchase email segmented flows. And so it's feeding that entire flow system that continues to scale and build the business. So it gets pretty advanced when it comes to the marketing side. So I may kind of overspeak. But for those of you who understand it to a degree, I would highly encourage you to start looking into the SMS side. You can get very, very dynamic with it, like abandoned cart series, very, very basic, right? But imagine having an email series that's set up where if you left something in your cart and an email trigger goes, let's say 15 minutes after you abandon, if you don't open within 15 minutes, then it will send you so that's 30 minutes after you've abandoned, 15 minutes on an email. If they didn't open, now it's going to go through an SMS. If they did open, it does not send the text message. So all segmented, but cross-channeling based on, and so that's what we've really been able to do is very honed in focus on the entire consumer journey. From first touch point to second purchase and then on, what does that look like across the ads platforms, across the email side, SMS, any touch point deliverability between us as the company and the consumer. So that's really been the massive focus, is trying to take that to another level.
Yeah, man, I'm fucking so fucking excited. Oh man, I'm the cursing twice. You know me, I curse a lot, man. I just get so excited because you've done it. Guys, you're now getting the attention and the wisdom of a CEO that is currently scaling way beyond 9 figures, and he's done this in, I think, less than 3 years, if I'm correct.
Three and a half. So
3.5 years.
Well, okay, 4 years as a business, as an LLC, but only, so June 15th will be 3 or 4 years. So next month will be 4 years as an e-com. So that's still amazing. In the 3-year period, but we're eligible for Inc. So we finally got our application in. It's our first year to do that. So I'm excited to see where we line up. I feel confident that we'll be number one in the state of Alabama. I'm really hopeful that, they have different categories of focus. And this is my first real business. And so this is exciting for me. I know you've probably been on there 1,000 times, but like for me, it's like a new chapter, like another check on the box that I can go and do. So I'm hoping number one in manufacturing category. But the problem is we did too good the first year. And so that's always, if you would have hit that minimum base mark, which is 100,000 revenue by March 31st and only 100,000 in revenue, then their calculation scores based on year 3. It could have been a lot better, but we did too good on the first year.
Oh, you did. Yeah, that's a good problem to have. That's for sure. So Colin, what I want to touch on is like, really what I feel like you become a master at, and I see this with a lot of world-class entrepreneurs today, is you really understand direct response on one side. So I want to dive a little deeper for those that are like new to understanding direct response, that are just getting started, that are more like that 6-figure mark. I know congratulations, by the way, on the millionaire creator trademark. So that's cool. So for a lot of those that want to like get to that first time hitting 7 figures, I want to talk about why it's so important to be direct response. After that, I want to talk about, leadership. I want to talk about how you had to build a team. And when you think about direct response, what I learned from you, and a lot of what I'm teaching even our clients as well, is like, you could be the greatest marketer in the world. And a lot of people, I see this, they get really excited. There's a lot of content online, and you can learn a lot of this stuff pretty much on your own, following YouTube and a lot of the videos that are out there. But then you rush with the marketing quickly, and you don't have the back end really figured out, right? And then you don't deliver a quality customer experience or product. So if you were to go and think about and tell yourself this all over again, or teach someone from the beginning, would you tell them first to start on the product, the marketing, the customer journey, and then kind of take it from there?
So that's actually a really good point. I would say to focus on your branding and your brand message first. I think that that should be a tell-all, is your overall brand book. Who are you? What do you stand for? Who is your avatar? What's your primary hero products? What message do you want to convey? Because all of that is baselined on the rest of it. The marketing piece will follow from the proper branding. And so I know what my primary avatar is, even like down to you, dude. I used you as a reference guide for my brand book. I said, look at the way the way that you have your overall font placements, your post secondary, your color schemes. There's so much attention to detail. But when you're looking at like cross branding, so when you're looking at like paid marketing or your social platforms, I know without putting Gerard Adams on there, you could take your name away from it, and I can tell this is your brand. And so I think the overall brand identification, so that if you take your logo out of it and your name, do they still know that it's you? If you walk into a Taco Bell, you don't see the Taco Bell logo, you know exactly where you're at, right? They've done an incredible job with that. And if you can have that cross-platformed on everything, and they know exactly who that is, I think that that's going to be your first step to the equation. And it's not an expensive task for you to do. You just have to have a true understanding of what is it what do you stand for? What's your mission? Who's your avatar? What's the product categories? What type of font placements, logo placements, all of these simple things. And there's a lot of brand books that you can reference that's public knowledge, and you can kind of take that as inspiration. I use yours for my personal brand and a couple of others, but I would say that that's step one, is just making sure you have that. Yeah.
Like really getting clear, like who are you speaking to? What is that message you want to convey? How do you want that brand to feel? So then from there, what would be next in your opinion, or that you learned and when you first started Redline Steel?
So I think when it really started to click was the automation of segmented rules. And that's when it gets a little bit more advanced. But like when a customer does this, then these other things should follow and trigger. And without those being properly set up, then it's not really scalable to a degree. Right. So, and then also like where I lost the most money, where I think a lot of people do as well, we've spent over $12 million in the last 3 years just on Facebook ads. That's it.
Wow. Right.
But we've got over 1 billion impressions. So there's a lot of eyeballs on us. Where I've messed up in the past would be not proper exclusions, because I'm bidding myself up into different campaign and ad set categories. And so that was a mistake that probably caused me to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars over the first, I'd say 18 months or so, trying to figure out what do I need to do. Unlike a lot of people, like I've never paid for a course, I've never bought, like I've just kind of figured it out. I'm one of those guys that, dude, I dropped out of high school. And you did the interview with me, but for those of you who don't know, but like I dropped out at 16, I was emancipated, joined the military a few days after my 17th birthday. And then from there, I've always just kind of been I'll figure it out, jump in with both feet, hope I swim. And, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people that can take that into different directions, but I know if I can figure it out, man, anybody can. And with proper guidance, I wish that I had somebody that truly aligned with that, and that could have told me, because I could have grown even faster than what I did, and not made certain mistakes that, I wish that could have been different. But when you're playing with your own money, man, that's another level too.
Yeah, so, there's pros and cons. At that point you're all in on all in. I think a lot of people make mistakes when they actually raise money too soon. I think there's such a beauty to bootstrapping and like knowing what it truly takes from the ground up. So I have, what I hear and what I've seen that I think is so important. And we talk about this at Leaders Create Leaders now within the mastermind, because it's something that I had to learn, because here's the truth. As an entrepreneur, I'm a visionary type guy, right? Like I like to think of ideas. I'm great at branding. I'm a natural promoter type. I can inspire. I can lead naturally. But there's a shadow side to that. And the shadow side for me, Colin, for a long time was I wasn't a great CEO or manager. I was a great leader, but there's a difference between a leader and a manager. So, I had to go through learning, understanding systems and processes and how to put the right managers in place around me so that I could be what I'm great at doing, being the leader, but then also instill leadership qualities in everyone on my team. And I think you have done that at the highest level as a millennial CEO and entrepreneur and leader out there. So can you jam with me a little bit on what do you, how have you seen the difference between like leadership and management? And then how did you find the right people around you that can start to manage the different divisions of your business?
Yeah, so I align with you a lot on that, man. Being from the military, like I learned so much from my leadership from the military, and I learned like the people that I don't want to be like, and also we had some incredible leaders along the way. For me, it's more like passion driven. Like I haven't publicly talked about it too much, but I'm hoping within 18 to 24 months, I can find a replacement and have somebody run the business as the CEO so that I can step back and focus on being, just like you said, a visionary and being somebody that can focus on what I really and truly love. And that is being forward facing, I want to do press tours. So one thing that we want to do is partner with national nonprofits. I've really found myself over the past 60 to 90 days. We've donated over $4 million in products for medical staff, first responders. We partnered with Megan Fox this past 2 weeks ago with the Soldier Memorial. We actually exceeded our goal. So the goal was 2 million, and we're on where we just surpassed 2 million. We're thinking it's probably going to be closer to like the 2.7 million dollar benchmark. Man. So thank you, man. But through all of this, like I've truly found like a passion like of giving. And when you give from a place of integrity, like you can't go wrong. And so I'm fortunate in the sense that I don't have a board of advisors or VCs that are telling me, Colin, you can't do that. We're losing money. I'm losing $3.82 on average for every single order that's going out the door. Don't do that. Stop doing that. But for me, it's faith, man. Like I believe in the product. I know once they receive it, that it's a high quality piece. It's made in America. Like we're doing the right thing. And then also like the ripple effect of what takes place, right? The national exposure, having celebrities that endorse it and that genuinely want to do it. Like she didn't need to do that, but like she's supporting a veteran organization, and like now I can use this as a phase 2 rollout where we can go get on talk shows. I can go on, we're talking to a few really, really big ones, and I'm not going to mention them because I could probably mess something up, but like there's a bigger holistic view to the entire thing. But I've really found myself from a place of that. And so I want to I'm not driven, I want to take off pressure and noise of the business that stresses me out. And so looking at numbers, I love data, but I don't like the financial arm of it. And those stressful decisions, I like to operate from a place of does this feel right? Yeah. And when I can operate from that, yeah. So I need that balance. And I've got a great, CPA firm. We have an internal controller and CFO, and they kind of balance the two. But I really, at the end of the day, I don't enjoy looking at P&Ls. I don't like boardrooms. I'd rather be hands-on. And so I'm finding myself as a leader as we're growing the organization. And I'm thinking about it in a different perspective of what is in the best interest of the business at the end of the day? Where can I put myself to elevate? Where am I at as a 10? And now how can I find other 10s that align with what I'm currently doing that I'm not at? And I know that there's going to be people that I can find, if I can find the right person, and utilize their strengths to better the business. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It's not about titles. It's about how can I create Redline and build it into the vision that I have? And I think that's step one is I have a vision and we're carrying it out, and I've got a timestamp on that. And as long as I believe it, I don't give a shit who doesn't believe it, right? Because that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Timing. So $1 billion company, within 5 to 7 years of when we started. So I have, 4 years to complete that benchmark and that to complete that vision. Once that happens, then my goal is eventually I want to exit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I love what I do, but I will never retire. Like I'll be that 90-year-old fucking willing in on a, you know what I mean? And I'd love to have like an incubator, man. I know you were starting, you're looking at that entire thing. And
Yeah.
I love that because I love to help other entrepreneurs, especially if they're passionate about it, man. Like me and you, like, we don't do it for the money. We don't need the money.
Yeah.
Like I do it because I have a genuine love for helping other people and building, like, concept to reality, truly building something, building the brand book, building the product line, like launching the campaign structures, the segmentation, the phase 1 all the way through 3, the journey, step 1 of awareness, 50% video views will go into this separate category. What was the focus of this? Now create cross-sell opportunities over on this line based on what that viewer also saw, or what they purchased, or how long were they on the website, and what did they look at. Now put them into these separate retargeting campaigns. But that's my passion. And so just since you visited last, that was probably about a year and a half ago or so.
Guess so, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of I remember because it was winter. I was wearing like a jacket. So I think it was, I'm thinking it was about a year and 4 or 5 months.
Well, I was just watching our interview. It was it went up in July, so we're coming up to the anniversary of the interview, and it usually takes us a good 3 months. So I don't know, it might have been in the
March,
beginning of the year,
January, February, March, something like that. Yeah. And I was coming off of a really bad year. That was a rough one. I think when you came down, I was just coming down off of this.
Yeah, you were getting, also health-wise, man, it seemed like, let's talk about that for a second, but, let's talk about you, your energy, just how you've personally grown since I've last seen you, man, because I've seen your health is at like freaking back to you. First of all, you're already on covers of Men's Fitness and all that stuff. When I saw you, though, and I know what that's like, man, you're so in the grind. You're carrying this thing on your back. You just went all in on building Redline Steel. You're in the middle of the mountain, chomping away. So what has changed for you as far as like your energy, spiritually, physically, mentally? What has evolved? How's everything evolved for you?
Man, when you came down and visited, dude, I was at a bad place, man. Like, I was on the brink of potential like bankruptcy, potential lose everything, because I was all in, and I still am. I'm totally vested into what we're doing. Yeah. So from a mental state, it put me in a really bad place, man. We had some massive equipment that failed on us, and it caused an entire ripple of downfalls. And so this is like equipment you can't go to Home Depot and Walmart and buy. Like,
you customize these things for you.
Yeah, from Switzerland. They don't make the shit in America. Like, you got to outsource. And to top it off, like, it was all under warranty. Technicians come up, okay, that takes 2 weeks to fly somebody in from wherever state they're at. And then, that's the problem. We're going to have to import it. So you're looking at 6 weeks of downtime. Yes, it's covered, but now I'm delinquent. And so for instance, that was like our nitrogen generator. And that's what powers, like, what we're breathing right now, high pressure tanks, low pressure tanks. And it converts air that we're breathing into nitrogen. So 7 different systems that work in tandem to make everything operate. And so we had to find redundancies. And the problem is, my passion is not, I don't like manufacturing. I don't like this is a plus screwdriver, bro. This is not a Phillips. Like, I don't like, and what's odd is now we have the largest in the nation for home decor within manufacturing wall art space. Right. But I don't like it. Like, it's stressful because I don't understand it. And like, some people have it, like they're naturally gifted. Like, I feel like I'm gifted at the marketing piece, the branding, the humanization element of it. I'm accustomed to criticism. I'm very open and vulnerable to feedback. And I think that's helped our brand tremendously. Yeah. And what hurt the most is, I operate from a place of integrity, and when I can't control something and my name's behind it, I was given everything that I possibly could, but it wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. And I know what that feels like, man. And no matter what you did, like, it just, but I showed up every single day. I never doubted myself, but I'll paint a picture. I I was blown up in Afghanistan in 2012. I would rather be blown up again and go through the same, lumbar block fusion surgery, TBI, shrapnel went all the way through my legs. So 6 months of physical therapy to learn to rewalk. Like, I would rather go through that because I can control that outcome, and it's me at the end of the day. I'd rather get shot, take off a fucking hand. Like, I would rather go through that than to know that, even though I couldn't control it, there's tens of thousands of people that now I look like the Grinch, and you're questioned on your integrity in general, and that's put into place. And so I'd rather just yeah. So that's where I was, man. And wasn't working out, wasn't eating right. I wasn't eating much in general. Like, I wasn't staying hydrated. Like, I was just basically living on Adderall and Red Bulls, and that's if I'm being honest, it just put me in a really bad place. Mentally, I wasn't all there. I wasn't fully conscious. I was on one of those cruise control states where, okay, wake up every day, show up, and it was just that 15, 16-hour grind nonstop. And not saying that the hours haven't changed, because I still love what I do and I'm still working stupid hours, but I love it. I genuinely do. And we're moving the needle so fast and incrementally fast. And you guys are going to see some insane things that happen that's going to like 10x our business over the next 12 months. And it's because of everything that we're doing right now. But mentally, I'm in a really good space.
Can you give us some lessons, bro? Like, I would love to kind of hear from someone like yourself when, a lot of us, we don't know what that feels like. And I can only imagine all of a sudden you finally get to a point of like scalability. You got tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of customers. You're finally at the point where you can invest into these machines out of Switzerland. I can picture you get these machines. I remember seeing them, these laser amazing machines. Then, things are going wrong. All of a sudden you feel like your integrity is being questioned. Something's out of your control. What were the things that you learned during that time?
I learned a lot about myself, man. And I think that those setbacks are a setup in the future, and you don't know how or why or what's the purpose behind it. I really believe God's got a plan for everything. And he was questioning if I was going to, what we said in the military, Charlie Mike, I'm going to continue mission. And I learned who was loyal and who wasn't. Wow. And more than that, because there was, we lost about 60% of my staff. Like, there was 2 main managers that left to create their own business to compete against me at Redline. And while I was out of town, at a mastermind for board of advisors, you probably know them, Mike Calhoun and them. I was down there. They had a secret meeting and basically told everybody that they need to go find another job because we're going to be shutting down the plant, which was not accurate at all. And I didn't even know this meeting took place until 3-4 months after everyone left. Like 60% of my staff left. All of my key managers left. And I was left basically by myself with one other manager and a handful of people that believed in what we were doing. And so now it's like, I've got to be strong for them. And that's what carried me 10 times further. Is it's not just me and my family that I've got to protect and figure out. Like, I could live with that, bro. If I got to go bankrupt, like I'll do whatever I got to do. I'll rebuild, but it's the 25, whatever it was that we got over, almost 100 employees now, but like the 25, whatever people that stayed with me, like they pushed me so much further than what I mentally was capable of doing. I just showed up every single day and I'm like, I'm doing this for you too. Like, you're loyal. I'm going to remember that. Now, this was the big takeaway. I'm very loyal by trait, especially those that dedicate and devote a lot. But I learned, as far as like, I was crippling my business because I couldn't have put people into certain key roles as fast as we were growing. The people that left, they were actually toxic for my business because even though they were physically willing and able to work the hours that was needed, as soon as they left, I hired a recruiting firm and found true talent. And that's what changed the entire game. Was I'd never hired a recruiting firm before this. It was a big investment, man. You're talking, 10 grand per person. Like, and I went and found 4 people that were very, very talented into these different areas. And now that elevated my business so much more. And I became aware and conscious of, holy shit, man, we weren't doing this right. And so since then, we partnered with Oracle and NetSuite with our ERP system, and we created a cadence and, pars and subpar inventories, and the entire shop and flow has just changed dramatically. But I wasn't conscious that I was so loyal to the people that were around me that I was sabotaging my own business based on loyalty. And so from that same takeaway, now I know, okay, what's in the best interest of the business?
Right.
And even looking at me, I'm not where I need to be. I'm not in the role that I need to be. Colin, you need to self-adjust as well. Your best practice is, the marketing, the vision, running the social channels, the live streams, going on press tours, partnering with celebrities and nonprofits. Like, that's where I can elevate the brand, not doing what I'm currently doing as the CEO. And it's not, and so I found myself, but I also found how to release, I guess, and look at this is the best interest of the business. And
right.
So if, I can't, and I'm not afraid to have those conversations now, and it's a hard conversation to have with somebody that's been there for a while, is, to have conversations that you don't want to have, or to let somebody go based on their performance, even though they've been there for years. It can't be tolerated. Like, right. Unfortunately,
and on the flip side, I'm sure too, when someone's just not, of the standards of the core values of the company, it doesn't matter how good you are actually doing the job if you're, bringing that kind of energy into the culture.
Yes, 100%, man. The culture is an alignment of so much. And as you're growing rapidly, like, it's challenging to find those balances of the two. So, we're looking at possibly relocating corporate to Nashville over the next 18 to 24 months and building that entire infrastructure. So manufacturing in Alabama, and then building a corporate, the enterprise side into Nashville. And so I want to make sure that I sustain the culture. So it'd be a great follow-up to see how we can sustain that. And
I have someone really cool that I'm going to introduce you to. We'll talk about that soon. That's believe it or not, that's their focus, is helping companies to maintain their culture when they're scaling and moving. So I'll follow up with you on that. But I want to get into some of because you're like also a master marketer. You kind of lit up when you talked about your role. You're naturally a great leader by example, and a visionary. You think big, you think different, but like, you're one of the greatest marketers that I know, especially when I was there, you were showing me analytics. Can you give us what are some quick little secrets that maybe you don't really share, Colin, that maybe you can give us, that maybe if it's just one thing that we can think about, that how that can drastically increase, whether it's our LTV or just, our one of the metrics that would increase us making more money or retaining more of our customers.
I got it. Ready?
Go. Yeah.
So any e-commerce business owner right now should have at least this email step set up, a minimum. Okay. This will 100%, and I don't know with FTC, I'm not selling a course. So I'll say this, for my business, it's been a night and day change on immediate post-purchase email series. I have a 2-step series set up, and the open rates are incredible. So it's a post-purchase. It's an upsell essentially, but it's immediate. So as soon as a customer, that's their order confirmation, right? And so now inboxing is incredible. And your open rates, instead of that traditional 18 to 24%, if you're lucky, now it's 55, 60%, because people are accustomed to placing an order and then going to their email to check the confirmation to say, yes, everything looks right there. Perfect. Now, once they see the confirmation, hey, would you like to also add one of these other 10 items? I'm going to give you free shipping. We're just going to add it to the order, and I'm going to take 50% off. And now your average order values just jumped dramatically, and we're able to have another touch point to that consumer. So even if they don't go back and purchase, maybe they go back to the website, and I'm able to target them based on what they viewed. And so now my DPA ads across Instagram, Facebook, Google, and cross-channel networks are now hitting different funnel traffic. And so your immediate post-purchase upsells are, that's the lowest hanging fruit, right? They already purchased, they're hot, they're freaking hot. Man, now at this point, you got to have some type of sense of urgency and fear of missing out. I got 50%, but I've got to order within 24 hours so I can merge this with your order that's going to go out. That's how I can take away the shipping cost and discount the other item. I've got to have both fear of missing out, sense of urgency. And it can be set up automated, right? So as soon as they purchase, no matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, set it up for an immediate post-purchase. They are on the lookout for that order confirmation email. So that's the lowest hanging fruit. Now, the next thing, this is how any other business they've got to look at that 80-20 rule, right? Your 80% of customers have only purchased once, right? 20% 2 or more purchases. But you can segment that down even further, and it's called the 4% rule. So if you take your 80-20 rule, and it's essentially the same thing we're doing, 80% of our paid marketing is towards prospecting new customer acquisition, but 20% is towards retention and remarketing. But when you look at the overall revenue that's attributed, it's the reverse. 20% of that traffic that's retention and remarketing is actually bringing in about 80% of the revenue. Now let's take that. And it's so true for so many businesses. And that's why every customer is not the same. You cannot treat them the same. You've got to be able to take care of those that take care of you so much more. And those people that have ordered, especially if it's like a non-commodity based business, and if you're selling supplements or toilet paper or whatever it is that you're going to order every single week or every month, it's a little bit different of a business plan. I have to think about things in a different scale, because they don't need to order my stuff, a tree of life or a monogram on their front door. They only have one front door, man. I've got to figure out how the hell can I stretch lifetime value?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's that 80-20 rule, putting people into different segmented brackets, and then cross-channeling through email flows based on where they're at.
What's the 4% though? You mentioned a 4%.
Yeah, so I'm glad I got off track. All right, so 4%. That 80-20 rule, when you take that 20% of the customers that are spending the most amount of money, break that, let's call that is its own bracket. So we'll say that that's its own pool of 100 people, 100%. When you break that down, that 80-20 and 20%, and you say, this is, I'm going to break that down into the highest lifetime value of these customers, break that down into another 80-20 segment. And that's going to give you 4% of your total customers that end up attributing about 80% of your revenue is baselined on 4 customers, or 4% of your total customers.
Wow.
So we have over 1 million customers now with our website, redlinesteel.com. And so 4% and this is not going to be a 100% true. I mean, it could be 4.2, but it's going to be damn near close. I think anybody running an e-com business right now, it's going to be about an 80-20 split on customer retention and 2 or more orders. And it's really going to be based on what is that traditional, like that LTV of what your product line is. But that 4% rule is critical.
So when now you get to the 4%, now what?
So it's segmenting the data. So it's segmenting to know who is your top customers. How can I treat them different? And so we created a rewards program. And now we're incentivizing customers to be a part of it. It's an exclusive experience. So we called it Redline Elite. And so we created it February 26th of this year. And they had to spend $250 or more on purchased product and 5 or more orders. So they can't just go buy one massive 36-inch tree of life. Now they're a part of it. So we got to see that loyalty. So 5 or more orders and $250 or more spent since February 26th. Last month, we actually increased it to $350 because now we have over 820 people a part of the rewards program that hit that criteria. Yeah, somebody on here, that's Letty
Nice.
Alvarez. Letty's a elite member as well. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. So we have an incredible, and so then they have their own Facebook group. And so I do early releases for them. We're creating them their own. So she's is that your number? 820? Oh no, she's saying, no, I think she was number 1. She was a founding member. So the first 100 people were a founding member. So they were fighting over, I want to be a founding member. They got their own exclusive shirt. We're actually making signs that they're going to actually have their name on our wall at Redline, the founding members.
Cool,
and
man.
so
that
creating
so cool.
that culture of what we're doing is like, and now they want to be a part of it. And I want them to be a part of it. Like I really do. And she was number 1. See?
That's amazing.
And so that's that 4%. And so now we've broken into tiers. So we have red line, steel, VIP room, which is that 80-20. So that's that 20%. And then my main page, which is about 630,000 people, that is, that could be my 80%. So 80% is the main page. VIP group is the 20%. The 4% is the elite group.
Elite.
Yep. Carrie Peterson. Carrie's a elite member too.
Oh, that's
And,
so cool.
but it's an incredible, and so now that we've segmented into different categories, now I know, I take care of those that take
Real
care of me
loyalty.
so much more. Yeah, exactly. And we go the extra mile. Like they have a concierge service, like there's anything and everything that they want. And more than that, like companies pay millions of dollars for a focus group. I already created and cultivated a focus group. Like, dude, I launched a poll for canvases for for my Flash Friday for the whales that are coming out. And so the VIP group, that 20%, which is my top customers as well, they get to vote and tell us, what design do you want out of these four? What design? Because it doesn't matter what I like, it doesn't matter what he likes.
Right.
It matters holistically. And now they feel involved. They want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because now, oh shit, he picked my number. Hell yeah. Like, and they get, and I'm excited to hear that feedback because, dude, we've I casted a vote for Father's Day, and the piece, it did horrible. I thought it was going to do great. It was like 90% bad comments. And I love the honesty.
That used to happen to me with Elite Daily. We would do the same thing with our contributors. We had over 2,000 contributors that would help us with content on a daily basis, 80 to 100 articles per day. It was like really tough for us to be able to manage internally. So we had to call out create our culture externally. But like some of the articles I thought would do the best would never be the ones. They would fall flat. And then the one article
100%.
we were like, no way, that's the one that goes viral.
Hell yeah. Yes, 100%, bro. It happens all the time. That's why, I mean, data is king, and the timing and relevance of it is so important too. Yeah. It's like, we'll do, I've got black magics and reds and all kind of different cameras, and some of those perform the least. Like some of the selfie styles or live streams that I do will do so much better. So now, with Facebook, they have DCO ads, dynamic creative optimization, and you can test 5 different, you can do 5 different videos, 5 different subject lines, 5 different subheaders, call to actions, and you can test everything. And Facebook is actually optimizing based on the best whatever you're trying to do. So is this a conversion based campaign? Is this impression based? Is it what's your objective? And now Facebook's going to optimize that ad set or ad level based on what your video is, or photos. We do like 99% videos. I keep mentioning videos. If you're running ads other than like DPAs, especially for like prospecting, I would highly encourage videos over static imagery. You're going to get a lot better CPM rates, your cost per 1,000 impressions. So I would highly encourage anybody that's running ads right now, like keep testing videos. And even if you don't have a production team, man, like some of my best performing ones with tens of millions of views and purchases are like selfie style videos. And you don't have to get fancy with it, but we test all kind of different things. I just let the data tell me, yes, this is working, this isn't working.
Interesting. So Colin, since you have such a huge, robust company, you have to look at data so intentionally on a daily basis. Like, how do you run your meetings? Like, what does a week look like for Colin Wayne in regards to, being able to make the right decisions? How many meetings are actually taking place? How do you go about understanding the data so that you can make the decisions going forward?
So we have different sections and different categories. What I love is I personally love like not outsourcing. I love creating an internal infrastructure.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily like against, I think it makes sense for a lot of people. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking at Nashville as a relocation, is because of the talent pool here in Huntsville. When it comes to like the talent of videographers and photographers, I would rather, and other areas. So Monday we have an all-call meeting, and it's our leadership from everybody from fulfillment, the powder coat side, the laser production, office manager, customer support manager, my vice president, my plant operations manager. And so there's about 8 or 9 of us, 10 of us into a room, a couple project managers, and we're going over, it's an entire cadence of this is what got done last week. That's Mondays at 2 p.m. every single Monday. That's what happens. Yeah. And then we have a customer service manager that takes place Tuesday at 2 p.m. And so with that, I'm going over, well, I don't do it. I've got an executive assistant that basically goes over the infrastructure of the marketing piece. And it's a communication baseline that lets them know, hey, you're going to see an increase in this. This is the current sales that are taking place, because we want to be able to make sure that we're communicating and voicing that appropriately. And so there's sub meetings that take place on the internal side. Now on the manufacturing side, at 6:30 every morning, we have a managers meeting that is only the outside team. So you have the fulfillment, powder coat, grind manager, and plant manager. And then I'm always there. I wake up at 4. I try to get to work no later than 5 every single day. And then, and so I'm there and present during those meetings. And I usually just listen. I like to understand, hey, what's going on? And some of the main things is, okay, we're seeing an increase in this. Let's make sure production at a subpar level. Subpar is before before any piece is being powder coated. Let's make sure we restock. Let's what are safety concerns? Do we have any guests, special guests that's coming? Like Monday, I've got the mayor coming. We had the senator come down last week. We've had a lot of just crazy stuff going on, and so I like to be an open line of communication to my team. Hey guys, like, let's make sure we sweep, and let's make sure, hey, on Monday, let's make sure everybody's wearing their uniform. We're going to have some photos and stuff like that. And so voicing that, but having that cadence and communication is critical so that all departments can work in tandem and unison together. Because at the end of the day, that's how we're going to get better and grow as a team.
How do you all communicate? Do you use any kind of softwares or any of those that you use?
Yeah, so we use Slack primarily, but Monday.com, that's another one that we use for overall just task management and tracking. Nice. But communication-wise, primarily Slack.
Yeah, me too. That's awesome. And then how are you with like time blocking your own time? And like, how do you work best? Like a lot of my clients yesterday were asking me about like energy management. Some of them are like, Gerard, I feel like you got like 5 extra gears. Like, how do you do it? And, it really has come down to, for me, I look at every day as like pre-game, game time, post-game, and like, how do I perform at the highest level as a high performer and leader? And there's moments where I know I got a time block to get my exercise in. I have a morning routine that's before I even get into work mode. So what is your routine, and how do you maximize your productivity on a day basis?
So that's actually a really good question. So Sean right here, Big Sean, he's I think you met him last time, but he helps me manage that side a good bit. But I'm not a morning person, never have been, even though I was in the military for almost 7 years, waking up same time. So I force myself mentally. So I force myself to wake up so that by the time my staff gets in at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, I'm awake, I'm aware, and I know exactly, I'm present. So I force myself to wake up, even if it's not comfortable for me, because I know myself that it's going to take me an hour and a half, 2 hours to really take that. And I've tried some stuff that like Lewis Howes and a couple of them were talking about, like cold showers. And I think Ed Milet was talking about that. And, I've tried it, bro. I'm not going to lie. Like it was dreadfully horrible. Like I hated it. It was, it shocked your body. I do feel like I woke up really fast, but like mentally I was like, dude, I'd just rather wake up an hour and a half early, 2 hours, and just get it going. So, yeah. But, that's been, and so just like you, dude, like from usually from like 12 to 2, I keep that block open. When people go to eat, that is when I go and work out. I've got a gym at my warehouse. And so I just train. I do intermediate fasting. And so I only eat once a day. So I only eat once a day, and that's in the evening. And I'll do protein shakes, and, I've got a energy drink in here, but like, that's it, man. That's the only block that I have to myself. And, I've got my routine of in the morning, this is when I wake up. I don't have like a set time of when I leave. It's when the day gets done. It's usually no earlier than 6 p.m. That's when my staff leaves for first shift. But sometimes it's, like yesterday I was here till around 8. So from 4:30 to 8. And it's I think it's like one of those, like, I love what I do, so I don't mind doing it. I'm passionate about it. I don't have to do half the stuff that I do. Like I've got talent that could do it. I'm not afraid to let it go. But I think I'm addicted to the grind, if I'm being honest. Like it's, yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I am too. But what's nice is, there's a difference between being an operator and an owner, and building an income from building an asset. And we talk about like what it means to build a leader's system and having a machine inside that leadership system. And what you've created, Colin, at the highest level is a machine. Can you talk to me about what does that feel like when you finally have a company that can run like a machine, where even if you wanted to take a vacation with your family right now and leave, that machine can operate and is going to make money?
Yeah, it's powerful. And that's the point of segmentation. But we're still trying to build that foundation. Like I'm still involved with the micro. So I could absolutely leave for a week, but there would be an impact on the business. And so, but that's because you're performing at such a level. When you look at just like rent, property tax, and insurance, those three very basic things, you look at fixed and variable cost expenses, there's hundreds of line items. Just those three items that I mentioned is over $100,000 a month. So that's a lot to just wrap your head around, and you have to net profit so much more just to make that happen. So as we're growing, as we're scaling, we've hired 35 people over the last 2.5, 3 months. There's constantly, like, now I'm facing new challenges. And so to combat that, man, it's it's very hard to manage, and it is a machine. But I wouldn't say it's
it sounds like you're you're new levels, right? You're going to a $1 billion company. So I can only imagine, as you're growing from 20, when I was with you, 25 employees to now well over 100 employees, and you're continuing to hire, there's new SOPs, new processes, new roles and responsibilities, new management team in place, like constantly having to, evolve as you're growing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why we're trying to, like, we're hiring 5 more key management lead roles. That's going to take it to that next level where we can have other tiers of leadership underneath them. So I'm really excited for that, because, at that point, then you can really step back and grow and scale. And I want it to be where I don't have to be there. Like if I'm there, it's an asset and an extra. So don't plan on me being there, even though I will be, but it's not essential. It would operate just the same. And so right now I can't say honestly if I'm being 100, because I could just bullshit you and say, yeah, man, like totally runs that way, but it's not, man. I'd rather just be straight up with you. Right now it certainly doesn't take the level of, I don't have to be here. I could work 8 hours, 9 hours a day and still be where we're at and still continue to grow. I do a little bit more because I like to lead from the front. I'm asking my guys to do some stuff. Now we have 24/7, literally 24/7 production, fulfillment, distribution. And so like, I like to be there when second shift comes on staff. I like to, I like to work with them a little bit hands-on, and I'm a lot more hands-on than a lot of other leaders at this level. But I don't know, man. I really like it. I did a live stream yesterday about it.
I get it. I mean, listen, and you've worked hard to continue to rise this growth. So why take your foot off the gas? For sure. I'm not saying that's what you want to do, but what I'm saying is I even remember, and hey, I just want to make sure you give yourself and celebrate yourself, bro, for how far you've come, because it's really unbelievable how far you've come, Colin, and your team and all the work they've done over the last 4 years. Like it's remarkable. But even just me being there a little over a year ago, in the interview, I remember a part where we talked about you. And as you were building your team, you're like, gee, what's really cool is like, there are moments where you would go over to your team and you would said to me, you're like, sometimes it feels like I'm getting in the way. It's like, they actually know so much of what they got to do that sometimes I could feel like I'm like even just getting in their way, but you want to be there because that's the kind of leader you are, is you're going to be there and you're going to continue to lead by example and grow this thing. But it's cool to know that you have that team that is reliable.
What is your take on, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What is your take? So I'll give you an example. It didn't hit me. There's levels to entrepreneurship, and this is how I know that like I'll be addicted forever, is that it's kind of that never satisfied feeling of like, what is your take on it? Like, I wasn't content. Like last year, my goal was to hit 1 million orders. We didn't hit it, and I was upset at myself, even though I
Yeah.
couldn't reflect back and say,
I remember that.
well,
It was
we
like
were
a
at like,
holiday. It was like going
yeah.
into Memorial Day or something. I forget.
So we did hit our million, but it was months after when I hit
Right.
that goal. And that goal was 1 million orders by the end of 2019, technically, because now we're in 2020. So, what is your thoughts on like being sad? Because like, dude, so I went from like that same feeling of gratification of like, oh shit, we did it when we hit 100,000 orders, and it didn't until I 10x that and did 1 million. It was never 200,000 didn't feel that way. 300,000 didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And then 1 million orders passed, and then it was away just like that. Within 24 hours, it was the rush was gone. And honestly, like at 999,000 orders, it didn't hit me. And then I'm not an emotional type of guy, but dude, I like teared up when we hit 1 million. I saw that extra zero, and I was like, oh my God, like that's,
bro.
Yeah.
I literally had that exact moment happen to us. You know, with Elite Daily, we had it on the screen, the analytics, and we were like, come on, get to 1 million unique visitors. You know, we never reached that level yet of the unique visitors coming to our website. It was like that movie, The Social Network, when you're like watching it on the screen. It was like, so I've been there, bro. And, you know, and to just give you feedback, and that's the best feeling in the world. I think there's a really strong, it's a great conversation, because there's a balance, I think, between like who Steve Jobs was, where he would put these super ambitious benchmarks, because he knew that even if the team didn't reach it, we still would have surpassed where we thought we would have, which is what I think you're great at doing. For us, we did that in Elite Daily, where once we finally got to 1 million, and we got to 40 million, and we got to 80 million, we put on the wall 150 million uniques, and every day we would like slap this on the wall. It was written kind of funny on one of the walls, like it wasn't anything fancy, but you know, it kind of gave this big audacious goal of us reaching every single millennial, you know, in America and on, you know, eventually on the planet. And it just was a huge audacious goal. Now, we didn't ever get to 150 million unique visitors, but we got to 80 million, you know, and it was still a huge win. So I think there's a really strong balance between setting those huge goals, but Steve Jobs was known as a dick, you know, he was known as an asshole. Yeah. But so I think what we can learn from that is like, it works setting huge goals, but I think it's really important to celebrate the small wins along the way. It's for the team to know, like, hey, we're in a winning culture, and just constantly taking a moment to celebrate all the little wins along the way, and just always reminding the team, like, no matter what, hey, we're playing. I love this idea of, when I was just watching the Michael Jordan documentary, you know, I love the idea of like, hey, we're here to be a dynasty team. Leave me alone. We're here to be a dynasty team. You know, like, we're going to win some championships along the way, but we want to be a dynasty team playing for the 10-year vision, right? To make it to the Olympics or whatever that is. And in business for you, it's like you're playing to reach 1 billion lives, you know? And I just think it's always reminding your team of that huge vision along the way, and just celebrating those small wins, you know? And I think that's just like,
what about you, bro? What about you personally? Because I know that's for the team, but what about your mindset? Like, getting in the mind of yourself. Like, did you feel like it was self-sabotaging when you didn't hit that 150? Or, you know, what did that look like at 80 million, which is incredible, right? At the end of the day, like, there's not a lot of companies or, you know, organizations that will ever hit that. But was it internally hard for you to, you know, take on knowing that you didn't get it?
Yeah, for sure. Even in the exit, you know, when we sold the company, Colin, you know, like I was like, I wanted to build $1 billion media company. So I remember even when we sold the company and we exited, you know, I was depressed, bro. I was depressed. I was like, this isn't what I knew the brand could become, and what I thought it was valued at. And it was, not going to lie, really, really tough. I think what similar to you, where I've shifted, and it's a little different because you're still in it, you know, you're really building Redline Steel. I just really started shifting to making sure that I celebrate the success of others. So it became less about hitting a revenue number anymore, or a customer number or anything. It was just like, I want to measure my success by how many others I can help become successful and provide financial freedom, spiritual freedom, and lifestyle freedom for them and their families. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. I
Man,
think
I
that you
empathize
share
with
that.
that a lot because that's like vicariously, like, and that's, I've got a few clients because I do consulting from time to time, and
Yeah,
I'm super picky with who I work with because it's not
yeah,
about the money, it's the impact, and
yeah,
it's got to be a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, and I don't feel like I could put my name behind it, and you're going to get enough value out of it, then I just won't work with them. But like I've got one guy in particular down in Florida, and he is like absolutely crushing it. He went from like $200,000 within 18 months. He's going to do over 10 million this year. He did over $1 million last month, and it's not even Q4. Like, absolutely crushing it.
wow,
And and like seeing those updates and like, dude, even though it's like a 1-day consulting thing, like we have stayed in touch and we talk almost on a weekly basis because of that. And I
yeah,
love hearing the updates, and it's all him.
yeah,
At the end of the day, like I helped kind of steer the ship a little bit and
yeah,
opened his eyes to some of the long-term strategies, some of the segmentation sides, like
yeah.
this is what needs to happen. But he did it. He applied all this stuff. And so
Wow,
seeing
so
him
awesome.
win has been incredible. And so I definitely hear you on that side, like to vicariously see those wins through all these different clients that you're working with.
Yeah,
That's got to be an incredible feeling, especially when you can be dedicated to it. Because for me,
yeah,
I'm so devoted to what I'm doing here at
yeah,
Redline, but I love that impact that I was able to make with him, but I can't do that and scale it. So
yeah. No, you're doing it, bro, and you're going to continue to grow it. That's why I'm really excited to see what's to come for you, because it's who we are at the core. You know, it's already part of your leader's journey, and you're going to continue to. And I can't wait to continue to keep celebrating you myself, building our friendship over a long period of time. We're still young, and we're still
yeah,
learning. We're still students of the game, and I can't wait to continue to learn from you and celebrate you and build on this brotherhood. So
heck yeah,
thank you
man.
for taking time, Colin, for being on here, for
Absolutely.
sharing again. I'm going to touch base with you after this too, because I have someone I want to introduce you to. And just know, bro, that like I'm always here for you. Anytime I can support, whether it's a business thing, a launch, a new endeavor, a new passion project. You're talking about donating over $2 million, man. That's so huge, bro. Thank you so much for making your company a social enterprise and thinking that big, thinking about the impact your company can make. I really see you also playing a role politically. And there's a hierarchy with impact. One of my buddies, John Henry, who was on the Leaders Create Leaders show, came on this week, and we were talking about, there's levels, right, of it from an impact standpoint. Personal branding, right, is a level you can reach people through your company, creating jobs. There's a level you can impact people. There's a level of impact that we can make as we're growing and getting older, like thinking politically how we can play a role in government and the way the decisions are being made in our states and in our country. And I think you have you can play a really big role in that, over these years and years ahead, bro. So
Yeah.
thank you, man. Thank you for being that leader. And just know that I'm always here to support you in your growth. Anytime you need anything, even if it's just morally, consider me a friend that's out here in this community.
I respect that, man. Thank you so much, G. Hey, dude, good to see you. Come down to
You too,
Alabama.
man.
I need you and Jeff to come back down. Digital
Yeah,
Jeff.
yeah,
Shout out to him. I saw he launched his supplement line.
yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
incredible. And with what you're doing and launching season 6, I know for a fact like that's impacted the people that you're around, and his overall branding, everything that he's been able to do. Like it's curated from so many different entrepreneurs, and that's not to take away from him. He's crushing it. I'm excited to see you guys again, but I'm awesome. I'm incredibly like excited and pumped for him to launch that brand and
Hell
being
yeah.
around so many entrepreneurs and everything else. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
but hey, thanks for having me on, bro. Come down to Alabama and see me sometime,
You
and
already know.
yeah, we'll chat
I'll
with you
talk to you
soon.
soon. Thanks, Colin.
Okay, see you, brother.
See you, bro. All right, guys. So hopefully this was another really powerful, valuable live for you. We just had a 9-figure entrepreneur who's doing it, in 4 years, built a 9-figure brand, headed towards $1 billion, donating millions of dollars, hiring hundreds of people, scaling his e-commerce business using direct response marketing and understanding how to build that machine and that system inside of his company so that he can truly scale and he has the right team around him. So this is a powerful one, guys. Definitely re-listen to this. It'll be on the podcast, so definitely subscribe. Leave a review, Leaders Create Leaders, on iTunes or Spotify, and go and let me and Colin know if this was valuable to you. Shoot a comment. We weren't able to get to too many questions, so feel free to go and comment on those. And thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate you. Question of the day: be the leader. Peace.